hell laws are passed in countries like Canada where you're not allowed to protect your property, you're not allowed to protect your family, you're not allowed to protect yourself?
A lot of people think like, oh, well, in Canada, you earn so much money. Yeah, and you spend so much money. The cost of living there is absolutely insane. There is a housing crisis.
Canada didn't lose its housing market by accident. It was sold off piece by piece.
Canada used to be one of the most safe places to live, and now it's becoming terrifying. I live in Vancouver, Canada, and there has been so many insane things going on.
I cannot be the only person in Canada that literally hates it here. Like, bro, what the fuck?
Well, it took me only 3 weeks to realize that people are living a sad life in Canada.
I think our biggest challenge right now is that our people can't afford to live. They can't afford homes, food, the essentials.
Why everybody is moving out of Canada?
Look, all Canadians are giving me these 3 reasons. Number 1 is the housing. In cities like Toronto and Vancouver, the house price to income ratio is 9-to-1, and sometimes even higher. That means that people are paying 9 times their annual salary. Second reason, taxes. It's usually 65 to 70% because it's federal plus provincial tax. So from 100K, you only take home 35. And the third reason is the growth. Yes, many people are immigrating to Canada, but there are more Canadians leaving the country. 100,000 Canadians left in 2024 alone. And over 3 million Canadians are living abroad. It's not a good indicator of a country that's doing good. It's an indicator of a declining economy. And at this point, it feels like it's a much better place for immigrants than its own citizens. And now compare it to Dubai. We have a lot of immigrants too. 90% of the total population, to be precise, but 0% income tax, 0 capital gains tax, no housing crisis, because you can get a house for 200,000 to 200 million, and 60,000 Canadians already live in the UAE. So if you're tired of being punished for working hard, move to a place that actually rewards your hard work, and a place that doesn't rob you, but instead gives you opportunities. If you're a Canadian watching this, you know what to do.
Yeah, I could never live in Canada. I would never, ever, ever, ever in a million years live somewhere where me and my family sitting in my house chilling and somebody breaks in the house and I'm not allowed to protect my house or my family. Like, I don't know how in the hell laws are passed in countries like Canada where you're not allowed to protect your property, you're not allowed to protect your family, you're not allowed to protect yourself in the house that you bought. Right? It's just countries like that, they don't believe in privacy, I guess, or I don't know what it is. They don't believe in ownership. They don't believe in private property. They don't believe in human rights and the right to exist. I hate to go there on you, but that's the main reason that Canada has no business joining the United States, because we don't need a bunch of people becoming U.S. citizens that will not protect their own property. Like how does that even happen? How do you even come up with the idea, hey guys, wouldn't it be a great idea if we made a law to where nobody could fucking protect their own property or their own family or even themselves? How awesome would that be? No, I just don't get it. Peace and love. I'm out.
Why you shouldn't move to Canada? First of all, it's definitely not what you think it is. I think people really idolize Canada because they're comparing it to the US, but let's be honest, anything compared to the US is gonna look great. A lot of people think like, oh, well, in Canada, you earn so much money. Yeah, and you spend so much money. The cost of living there is absolutely insane. There is a housing crisis. Groceries could easily cost you $200 a week. Rent for a 1-bedroom in Toronto is $2,400. If you earn $60,000 annually, that's $5,000 a month before tax. That's already like half of your salary. The majority of the year is cold. You're going to be cooped up inside. The winter blues and depression in winter is a real thing. Sure, Canada has universal healthcare, but there are limitations. If you do get a job, you could get 2 weeks paid time off. My parents have been working at their company for 20 years and they just got 5 weeks. I'm in Spain. It's not perfect, but you couldn't pay me to move back to Canada.
A lot of people ask if I will ever live in Canada with my children. And the answer to that right now is no. And there is a very specific reason for that. And it is related to my mental health. I have been fighting to work on my mental health for over 10 years. And a lot of my struggles, I now know, are due to the fact that I was an undiagnosed autistic until I was 32 years old. I have had the privilege, the absolute privilege of having amazing therapists and 2 really influential inpatient hospital stays. And in Canada, there is a new medical assistance in dying law. I don't know what it's, whatever. And they have started the process of expanding that to include mental health. Please know that I'm only speaking about this for myself. It is scary for me to know, while there are a lot of processes in place to make sure that it's like the right decision, I don't feel comfortable having access to that where I live. I'm also saddened at the idea that that is what is being implemented rather than putting time and effort into people that are struggling and increasing accessibility to mental health care, like true care. And for those reasons, I can't. Because what does that mean about the help that they can give me if I'm here?
Canada didn't lose its housing market by accident. It was sold off piece by piece to Chinese investors while politicians smiled for the cameras and told regular people to budget better. Budget better, Canadians. Come on, budget better. Foreign investing is making our country rich. Remember that? If you don't buy now, you'll never own anything ever again. You'll be bought out of the market for life. The Chinese laundered $2.4 to $2.6 trillion in Canadian real estate from January 2020 to March 2024. StatsCan just confirmed what everyone knows or feels in their gut. Investors captured nearly 75% of housing ownership growth. That means 3 out of 4 new homes didn't go to Canadian families. They went to portfolios. Let that sink in. Mortgage arrears are now up, 64%, the highest since 2020. People are drowning, not overspending. And what does Ottawa do? Cuts the housing budget by 56% and quietly defunds the CMHC. During the worst affordability crisis in Canadian history, you can't make this stuff up. Toronto prices down 25% from peak because of the oversupply, and Canadians don't have money to get into their own markets. Vancouver inventory at a 13-year high. The bubble is cracking, but renters are still getting crushed because investors control the supply and the artificial shortages. And now the banks admit inflation numbers are overstated rent growth, meaning rates may have stayed higher than necessary while households bled dry. Meanwhile, job numbers are being padded on paper while real jobs disappear in reality. The private sector versus public sector. This is what selling your country looks like. Homes turned into assets, families turned into tenants, workers turned into debt hostages. Canada wasn't invaded, it was auctioned to the highest CCP launderers, creating artificial shortages and bidding wars. Remember that? And everyday Canadians could never compete. Oh, wait. We got first-time homebuyer loans. Pay back with interest. Remember that? It was a trap. Why do you think the federal government thought it was a good idea to bring in 4 million Indians since 2020? To fix Canada's biggest moneymaker, its real estate. Mike Martin's here. I have spoken.
If you think living in America is hard, try living in Canada for a day. We get free health care, get to walk into the hospital anytime we want, no charge, with no insurance. And we have to wait until 19 to drink? It's almost like we're living in hell. I'm serious. I don't want to hear no Americans complain. I'm fucking sick of this shit. I'm about to move to America.
Canada is not a place where I would live for free right now. Because people are sad. A lot of people has been asking me how was my trip to Canada and what's my thought about Canada. Well, it took me only 3 weeks to realize that people are living a sad life in Canada. I was trying to figure out, why are people sad? Why are people not smiling? Until I went to the supermarket, until I went to the gas station, until I got to the point where I needed to buy basic things. And I realized that people are really, really in pain. People are suffering. But there's one thing I can't put my head around. They live an expensive lifestyle. I don't understand. In a nutshell, for a place like Canada, people are not living. They are just existing. And that is not a good place to be. Thank you.
Don't come to Canada. Listen, I know that everybody back home is shouting that Canada is the dream, Canada is the dream. But you see, I'm going to be honest with you on this video. Don't come to Canada if you think that life here is automatically easy, because it is not. Canada is not the land of instant money. If you are not ready to work sometimes 2 or 3 jobs, there's a possibility that you might struggle. Some people are getting away with it with 1 job, but there is a possibility that you might. People don't really post that part on Instagram. Don't come if you think that your Ninja degree and experience will automatically open doors for you. Here in Canada, you might have to go back to school, college or university, start from scratch, or even take survival jobs that will begin to humble you. Imagine somebody that is coming from Nigeria as a manager in Lagos, but once you enter Canada, begin to wash plates or stand in the cold, delivering packages, or even work in production companies. See, don't come to Canada if you hate bills. In Nigeria, you can patch life sometimes, but you see in Canada here, rent, tax, phone, insurance, electricity, they will follow you every single month without fail. And you know what? If you miss payment, your credit score will suffer, and that is another headache on its own. Don't come to Canada if you cannot handle loneliness. Winter here is not beans. Not saying that you can't cope, but it gets dark by 4 p.m. in the winter, freezing cold, and sometimes you don't have family around. Not to mention that people here in Canada, they keep to themselves. And unfortunately, our Nigerian people have adopted that style of living. Mental health is real here in Canada, and nobody is checking up on you unless you check up on yourself. Now, before you judge me on this video, don't get me wrong. Canada is a great country, and I am happy to call this place my home. Canada has many opportunities to offer everybody. If you are ready to grind, if you are ready to learn, and ready to think long term, you can actually build a good life here in Canada. But if you are coming with only vibes and what you see on Instagram dream, see, Canada will shock you. And like I always tell people, Canada will humble you. So, before you pack your bags, ask yourself, am I truly ready? Physically, mentally, spiritually, financially? If your answer is yes, my prayer is that this land will favor you. And welcome to Canada.
I cannot be the only person in Canada that literally hates it here. Like, bro, what the fuck? You can't afford anything. Inflation is ridiculous. Food is fucking ridiculous. Like, unless you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 jobs, you're not making no fucking money. We don't have no fucking real creator apps for influencing in fucking Canada. Like, The weather is shit half the fucking time. It's fucking still cold outside. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. The parties are shit. I actually just hate it here.
Canada used to be one of the most safe places to live, and now it's becoming terrifying. I live in Vancouver, Canada, and there has been so many insane things going on. I just saw an article of a girl. She was in Cole Harbour walking, got attacked. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times by this man. He was out to kill her. She somehow managed to escape, fought her way off, found police, he got arrested. And now I'm reading that he now has been let go. And he's been let go because he is deemed mentally unwell. So he was having an episode of some kind. I don't know. Why is someone that is not mentally well able to go back into public when he almost killed her? That should be attempted murder. Or lock him up and get him mental health that he needs if that is the issue. And we are not taking it seriously. There was a huge hospital called Riverview that people would go to if they had mental health issues. I don't know why, but they shut it down. And obviously, if they shut down a hospital and there's a bunch of patients in it, where are they all gonna go? To the street! To the streets! That's why we have the downtown east side, Hastings Street, where all the drug addicts and people are, because they are just trying to get by in life. They're just trying to help their issues by numbing it. I don't judge anyone for 1 second being homeless. They probably have had a tough life. But what needs to happen is we need to have better access to mental health, and we need to help people with mental health and not just deem it, oh, it's just mental health, and let them go, because this is causing major issues in our city. Only days after this girl was announced attacked by this guy, and then the guy got let go, another incident happened. There was a Filipino festival happening here, and a guy drove a car through the festival, and now announced 11 people are dead. This sounds like something that you would hear about that happens in the States. It is not safe. I used to feel so safe walking here as a girl. I don't anymore. Now I take extra precaution because you really never know. It just takes one time, one bad area, wrong interaction, you're done. And you know what's even worse about our system that we have here is if you're a girl and you have some kind of mace, whether it's bear mace, you can actually get bear mace at Canadian Tire. And it's pink, it's cute, it's in a little bottle. My friend has it. You can have it. But if you were to use it on someone to protect yourself, you are going to be charged. Not the person attacking you, but you, as trying to protect yourself as a woman, are going to be charged for it. Which is actually insanity, because what are we supposed to do? If a guy is coming at you and you're a girl, how are you supposed to protect yourself? At this rate, I don't even care if I were to be charged. I'm picking up some pink bear mace. And I'm holding that near and dear to my pocket, because if I had to choose between being fined or having trauma or potentially my life at risk, I would rather be charged. Charge me. Charge me.
This is why we're all broke.
Over the last 10 years, the real GDP growth in Canada was 0.5%, not per year, 0.5% in 10 years of growth. We are behind every other OECD countries. We are dead last. It's a decade where nothing happened. No wonder Canadians, especially younger Canadians, are disenfranchised. Nothing's happened. Our quality of life has stagnated where every other country, European countries on top of that, America, Mexico, you name it, has improved.
So after 10 years of liberal economic policy, Canada is left dead last compared to peer nations in terms of economic growth. This means that while other people have seen their quality of life increase, ours has just stagnated. And what kills me the most in this is when you realize that we are worse off than our southern neighbors here that have seen 19% growth over the last decade. I mean, we're worse off than just about every country across the Atlantic. Take your pick of the bunch in Europe. They've all fared better than us. And there's no end in sight if we continue to go with the same kind of government and the same kind of economic policy that we've had for the last 10 years.
I think our biggest challenge right now is that our people can't afford to live. They can't afford homes, food, the essentials. They feel like there's no hope that they'll ever afford a home. In Vancouver today, it takes 29 years for the average family to save up for a down payment. And what we need to do is drive down the cost of government so we can drive down the cost of living. Let's cut bureaucracy, consultants, corporate welfare, foreign aid, to reduce the cost of government so we can bring down income tax, inflation, and interest rates. Let's remove government gatekeepers to rapidly build homes that people can afford and launch major industrial projects that will provide powerful paychecks. This is our common sense plan to build a paycheck economy rather than a credit card economy. Thank you.
Don't come to Canada if you're 40 and above. Because when you come to Canada, you will not be able to find a house. You will not be able to take care of yourself. You will not be able to get a job. Are these the things that people have told you? Please join me and laugh. When I hear people say all these things, it just makes me laugh, honestly, because it's crazy. How can you say that because somebody is over 40 that they have nothing to come and get? I know somebody who is, I think she's 58 this year. She retired last year at 57 because I was still in Nigeria when she did her retirement. She's either 58, no, I think she's 59 this year. She's 59 this year. She retired when she was 57. That was 2 years ago. And this year she's 59. She moved to the UK this year at the age of 59. And Mama is doing well. So why would anybody tell you that you cannot move abroad because you are 60 or you are 40? In fact, the one of if you are over 40 is even annoying me. It's really annoying because who gives that law? Who says that? I am over 40 and I'm here in Canada. I'm doing well. What I would just advise you to do is that if you're over 40, it doesn't even matter your age, whether you are even in your 20s or in your 40s or in your 60s. The most important thing is that when you come, try and live within your means. Don't try to follow everybody just because you are seeing them do things. You are seeing people go and take car on financing. You too, you want to go and take. You are seeing people collect phone to pay later. You too, you want to go and take. You are seeing sales here and there. You too, you want to choke your head, even though you know that things are not yet cajared for you. My dear, it doesn't matter your age. Do not let anybody discourage you. This abroad is for everybody. In fact, here is not like Nigeria where they're going to consider the fact that you studied XYZ, before you can get a job. What they need is your experience. It's not really about certificate. Your certificate is almost nothing here in Canada. It's the job experience. It's about what you can do. If you know that you are still strong and you have that burden in your heart, you have that lead in your heart to leave your country and move abroad, by all means do it. There are lots of opportunities for you here. And here, when you come, you just have to be open-minded, because what you were doing back home is not what you're going to be doing here. That's the truth. Because you have to make sure that you are in the in-demand sector, especially if you're chasing PR, permanent residency. If you're chasing permanent residency, you must ensure that you're able to tailor yourself into those fields, those sectors that will give you your permanent residency. Do you understand? Those are the things that you're supposed to be strategic about. If you want to come in via study, it's fine. It doesn't matter if you're over 40. You can come in via study. Just make sure you are strategic. Don't just come and sit down and say, okay, I heard that things are working, so I will just fold my arms and things will drop on my lap. It doesn't work that way. Just be strategic about whatever you want to do. Your age is no barrier. There are so many courses you can do. Even at the age of 60, nobody is going to stop you from studying. So do not let anybody discourage you, because they are liars. All those people who are telling you that if you're over 40, you should not come. Tell them that they are enemies of progress. They don't want you to succeed. That is why they are saying this. Some of them are living abroad here already, and they keep saying all these things because they don't want you to know that they are doing well. Do you understand? So do not answer them. They are enemies of progress. It doesn't matter the age. If you want to come, come. Just be strategic, and give yourself time. It didn't take you 1 year to get the things you got
in your country. It took you years. So don't come to Canada and expect that within 1 year or 2 years things will just fall in place. It takes time. Life is all about process. It's all about time. Okay? All right, so if you have not followed me, please click the plus button here. Follow me, like this video, and share it. All right, I'll see you in my next video. All right, take care. Bye.
Nobody wants to say this out loud, so I will. Canadian men are quietly breaking, and most of you are doing it in complete silence. Like, you're working overtime, you're paying the mortgage, you're showing up to hockey practice, you're fixing the leaking faucet at midnight, and, you know, on paper you look fine, but inside you're exhausted. You're scared, and you're wondering how the hell this became your life. Like, housing eats half, sometimes 3/4 of your income. Groceries feel like a luxury purchase. Mortgage renewals are doubling payments. Car repairs hit, and suddenly the credit card is back up again, and nobody knows because you don't talk about it. You internalize it because men are wired to think, if the numbers don't work, it must be our fault. If we can't provide the way our fathers did, we must be failing. But here's the truth, okay? This is not a character flaw. It's pressure, and pressure doesn't care how strong you are. I've had men message me saying they feel stripped of purpose, that no matter how much overtime they put in, it's never enough, that they're robbing Peter to pay Paul just to survive another month, that 5 years ago they were stable, and now they're drowning. And the worst part? They feel ashamed for even admitting it, because you're supposed to be grateful, you're supposed to be resilient, you're supposed to be, you know, just grinding harder. But grinding harder in a system that's squeezing you isn't a strategy, it's a slow burn, right? Financial stress is now one of the leading drivers of anxiety and burnout in Canada. Household debt is the highest in the G7, and men, we're the least likely to talk about it until it explodes. So what happens? We bottle it up, we snap at our kids, we withdraw from our partners, we start believing we're the problem, and that's the lie. The problem isn't that you're weak. The problem is that a single income, even a decent dual income, isn't enough anymore. So here's the uncomfortable shift. You can't cut your way out of this, okay? You can't coupon your way into stability. You can't skip vacations for 10 years and call that a plan. Stability today requires leverage. It requires income that isn't tied to someone else's payroll. It requires something you control. Now, I'm not talking about quitting your job, okay? I'm not talking about pipe dreams and Lamborghinis. I'm talking about building a second stream, something that brings in, you know, 2,000, you know, and then maybe 3,000 a month, you know, enough to breathe, enough to fix the furnace without panicking, enough to say yes when your kid needs something, enough to stop feeling like you're one emergency away from collapse. That's phase 1, okay, stability. Phase 2 is comfort. Phase 3, if you want it, is freedom. But it starts with room to breathe, okay? And if you're watching this thinking, this guy is describing my life, well, then good. That means you're not alone. And it means there's another way. Like, I put together a completely free mini course that walks through the first steps I took to build income online with no hype and, you know, without nonsense, right? No pressure, no promises of overnight success, just leverage. Because men shouldn't have to break in silence just to survive. So if this hit home, the link's in my bio. Just start there. You deserve more than just surviving your own life.
How the hell is anyone existing in Canada? Like, I feel trapped. Like, I just got a good job. Even on that job, like, I still can't do shit. I can't buy anything. I can't afford the rent these days. Like, I'm just feeling so much despair.
How is this young millennial not able to afford rent when she has a good job in Canada? It seems like every time I open up TikTok, I'm seeing one of these terrible videos. Let's break it down and see why. I asked ChatGPT, how much does the average household in Canada bring home after tax? Very important in Canada. Average income is $74,000 for the household after tax. So that gives us about $6,100 per month to spend. While I'm scrolling Zillow, and for the average detached house, which if you're a couple and you have a child, you're gonna want a house. In Kitchener-Waterloo, not even GTA, not Toronto, rent is around $3,100 a month. And as we can see, like, it's nothing special. It's just than an average house. That means rent for the average detached house in Kitchener-Waterloo, not even Toronto, is 50%, just over 50% of a household's take-home net income. Now I ask the same question, how much does a household in Texas take home after tax for comparison? $80,000 a year, $6,666 a month. So I scrolled Zillow in Austin, Texas, a much bigger city than Kitchener. Here's a comparable, not so nice house, just kind of nice enough to live in. Anyway, $2,050 a month for the same details as the other one. That means rent in Austin, Texas for something similar makes up only 30% of someone's income, which is exactly the golden metric. No more than 30% of your income for household expenses. So let's break this down. People in the US, I've done so many of these videos, are making more money, right? The average household in Texas makes $80,000 a year USD. Canada is 74,000 Canadian, which is 54,000 USD. They're paying less taxes, and housing and food and everything else is way cheaper. I can tell you this as a Canadian who now lives in the US. Yeah, I'm not in Canada, clearly. Guys, in Canada, you're being fucking lied to. So if you're a Canadian and you're pissed off and you're sick of it, and you want to follow a Canadian who's left, who now lives in the US, has a business in the US, hit the follow button. I have so much more to share with you.
A situation just happened and I want to talk about it. I'm not one to talk about political stuff, however, I'm going to. I live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and I was going through Starbucks. Not in a bad area. There's bad everywhere, I guess, or bad, whatever you want to call it. And I was getting my drink, and I don't have my glasses on at the time, and I see a senior citizen with a walker, with a sign on his walker. And, we're all human. It can happen to any of us, for one. Could have happened to me, still could happen to me. But luckily, it's not. I rolled down my window and said, "Hey sir, how are you doing?" And I said, "Sir, I can't read your sign." I didn't have my glasses on, we were kind of joking around. And so he told me what his sign said. He is a senior who has an apartment, who has pension or whatever you want to call that. I don't know. But he said it doesn't leave me much left for food because of rent. It is disgusting to me that we now live in a country where someone who has worked all their life can't afford food. He has to choose between rent or food. And that is not okay. It is so sad to me that this is what Canada has come to. And it's only getting worse. No one should ever have to face homelessness. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Especially someone who has worked his whole life and has a place to live, but he can't afford the rent and food. So he's outside a Starbucks in a not bad area. Just literally that sense of desperation, trying to get money for food. It's absurd what has happened to this country. And I don't like to focus on it because I know I can only control basically nothing except how I react to situations. But it's sad, and it's something needs to change. And I don't know. I don't foresee anything changing, so I guess through all of this is just be nice to people. And when we usually want to judge others, I know for me it's because I'm judging myself. So part of me just, Trudeau, get the fuck out of here.